Hey everybody and welcome back. I'm FoxeoGames. This is my Dark Souls Remastered playthrough. If you're wondering why Episode 7 appears to have some content missing, as in the entirety of Sin's Fortress, here I am standing with the Iron Golem defeated, it's because I forgot to hit the record button. So, I played 46.5 minutes of this game, talking into the microphone, and I wasn't recording. Very frustrating, but there's nothing we can do about it now. It is done and over with. I got a summon. Not only did I get Iron Tarkus, I also summoned another guy into my world, and we defeated the Iron Golem. So I didn't really do much. I did go get the Scythe. We swapped out the Ring of Favor and Protection for the Chloranthy Ring. So now we're using Woof and Chloranthy as our rings. All the armor and stuff's the same. I've equipped the Pyromancy Flame, although with no upgrades to the Pyromancy Flame, it's not going to do a lot of damage. But it's a thing that we have. We also have 48,366 souls to spend as we please. And as I mentioned, I'm Fox. This is FoxeoGames, my Dark Souls Remastered playthrough, Episode 7, with the entirety of Sin's Fortress lost to time. Oh well. Nothing we can do about it now. I will tell you that this playthrough has featured the theme of masculinity, the manosphere, the red pill, being a man, relationships, and women. Simple stuff, really. Kind of. So, what I wanted to talk about was the concept of frame. I've mentioned it before, but it's worth mentioning again. As we talk about that, I'll boost dexterity up quite a bit, and then we just need about 2,000 souls, a little less than 2,000 souls to level up again. So let's do a large soul of a proud knight. Is that 1,000 or 2,000? 3,000. I can never remember what's what. Okay, we'll go to 33 on dexterity, and then we'll repair anything that needs repairing. All right, and this is already kindled and good to go. We'll come back and dispose of her for the Firekeeper's soul later. Let's do this for now. Frame. We've talked about frame before, a little bit. Not a lot, but a little. So what is it? Frame is the red pill concept, and I didn't come up with this, of how you kind of structure your life, what you're doing, who you're living for, why you're living for those reasons, and to some extent, what those reasons themselves are. Ooh, look at that. Okay. There we go. Yep. And break. Frame is all about you deciding what you want to do, what reasons you're doing it, who you're doing it for. Probably the most important part of frame is who you're doing it for. The idea of frame is that you maintain your own frame by living for your reasons, for yourself, doing your thing for your benefit. Essentially, it is selfishness in the best way possible. The idea behind it is that, in stark contrast to what most men are doing, you are not living for a woman. You are not structuring your life around a woman. You're not asking a woman's permission to do things. You are... Whoa, that was weird. Okay, anyway. You are not basing what you want to do in life, what you can do in life, what you're going to do in life, on whether or not your woman would approve. And, you know, believe it or not, although women would never probably agree with this, in general, we have a society now where men defer to women. They look to women. Boys are raised primarily by women, single mothers, with fathers having little or even no role. Most of the teachers, at least in elementary on up to junior high, possibly even high school, are female. A lot of professors or influences in college now female. So what you've got is essentially a lot of boys growing up raised by women with female-centric values through the feminine imperative, through feminism, which of course is basically feminine superiority. Feminism is essentially a female supremacist movement disguised as an equality movement. If it was ever about equality, it's not now, but I don't think it ever really was. The best way to handle these guys is to wait for them to come to you over there on more solid platforms, but that's not always possible. Thankfully, I have a weapon that allows me to hit them without moving much. If your weapon causes you to move a lot with each strike, you probably don't want to handle that the way I just did. Because you will actually shift as you're attacking, and it'll shift your body right off that platform to your doom. But guys, once you hit this switch, you are good to go. You can die, and you don't have to worry about crossing over the ceiling again. Today's drink of choice is black coffee. French press came from Starbucks French roast beans because I was running low on the espresso beans. I ground them myself from beans in a coarse grind and then put into a French press with hot water. You could probably guess that the water was hot. Oh, shoot! Okay, let's go back up here. I'm going to Estus just because I'll hit the bonfire long before I use all of this. No point in staying lower on health when I don't need to. And a plunge attack to finish it off. Nice that the gargoyle items will simply drop into your inventory automatically. You'll notice that when you defeat some enemies, you automatically get the item that they technically dropped, though they didn't drop it, it just sort of transferred to you. And then other enemies drop the item where they died. This coffee is good. I originally made it with some frothed up half and half, but then I drank most of that during the last playthrough. And now I've reheated this, and there's still a little bit of that half and half left in it, so it's ever so slightly got that, you know, dairy. Oh, dear. Oh, my. Now, I think if you run all the way this corner, they will lose focus and give up on you. Now, the reason we say that about frame, the reason you live for yourself, for you, is not in order just to be selfish and gain as much as you can. It's because if you live for a woman, a lot of things will happen inadvertently, unintentionally, and intentionally. The woman will respect you less because every woman inherently knows one thing. She is not worth living for. No woman truly believes they are worth a man's complete and utter devotion in life. If you asked a woman, should this man sacrifice his life for you? Most women would probably say, well, although there's an element to them in which they think that they are worthy, they ultimately know that they're really not. It's kind of like celebrities. Celebrities know they're not worthy of the attention they get, and that's why celebrities sort of develop this hatred for their fans. That's part of the reason why is they ultimately know that they're not worth the attention that they're getting. And so they learn to resent their fans. And then basically, if you know, there's this element that if you treat a woman like a celebrity, she will treat you like a fan. Those are not my words. Those are I believe they're from Rollo Tomasi in his book, The Rational Male. The idea behind it is if you worship her, she will treat you as a subject. I don't think men and women are truly capable of treating each other as equals. I just don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's reality. I think when you have two people, a 50-50 relationship, which is not real. If you try to have a 50-50 relationship, one person will always come out dominant. And if you as the man don't maintain the frame and maintain that social frame, that dominance, then the woman will take over. And in many cases, she will try to take over regardless of whether you maintain frame or not. And she will ultimately resent you for it. Because I don't believe the vast majority of women actually want to be in control. They don't. They want you to be dominant. They want you to take charge. They want you to decide where you're going to go to eat. They want you to pick what you're going to do. And if they're really not satisfied with it, they really don't want to eat at that restaurant, they'll let you know. See right there? That elevation issue where I took some damage running down? They still haven't fixed that. It's just unbelievable how little they've fixed in this. Most of the problems with the games are still there, just as much as they were before the remastered version. These guys are really flippin' annoying because that constant fucking jump back, Dark Souls style, Dark Souls 2 style almost. This is the kind of thing you'd expect to get from Dark Souls 2, where enemies are designed to just be as annoying as possible. Not necessarily difficult per se, but just frustrating and annoying. Okay, let's, we're getting shot at from multiple angles. We're gonna wait here until they forget about us. Oh, yeah. And we don't have any arrows, so we're not gonna use the poisoning trick. We're just gonna have to run up there and hope that we can parry them. I think this part of the game is actually really unfair. Oh, did somebody call Dark Souls unfair? He just needs to get good. Get spelled G-I-T. The reason I think it's unfair is this is your first encounter with the Silver Knight, so you have no opportunity to practice on them. As we discussed in the last episode, Sin's Fortress gave you a chance to practice on the man-serpents before you were forced to fight them in a tight, confined space. Here, you're forced on the tight, confined space with an instant death drop, and you even got a guy that can freaking shoot you from behind. Look at that. Right there. I nearly got shot from behind. You see what I'm talking about? That's just not fair. Please take note. I did not send this guy off the edge right there. So just because you've parried him and riposted does not mean he's dead. You may not kill him with one shot, and he probably, depending on where you're at, won't fall off the edge. This is a sucky place to get invaded right here, by the way, right before you can get to the bonfire. So if he doesn't fall off the edge, you're looking at having to hit him again. Now, if he's almost dead, just make an R1 swipe at him. As long as your weapon doesn't send you flying off the edge, just R1 swipe him and you're good to go. If he's still not dead and he's quite a ways away from dead, you may actually have to go ahead and... wait, hang on. You may have to go ahead and try it for a second parry. Do not try to get around him for a backstab. Obviously, that's not going to work. You're probably, almost certainly, going to fall to your doom. So, Solera's not here. Yeah, okay, well, that's a thing. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and kindle this bonfire. Because this is the bonfire from which we're going to fight Ornstein and Smough. And it's always great to have 10 Estus over 5. Especially for boss fights. Now, we're going to take the long route. I hope these guys don't mind. A lot of people put their summon signs here expecting you to already be ready to fight the boss. There is a shortcut to the boss. I'm not going to use it. I didn't use the shortcut through Blighttown, so I figured I'll take the full route here as well. Aww. As soon as you summon them, they're gone. That's not fair. That's not cool. So we'll try again, and nope, that didn't work. We may come back. Yeah, for those that don't know, you can do a running jump off the stairs right up here and skip a lot of Anor Londo, at least like half of it. There we go. So this... yeah, that move right there is a little bit tough to parry because of how wide it is. I don't remember the timing exactly right now, so I missed it. Wow. Okay, so he needs a backstab and 2 R1s. Interesting. Anyway, these guys aren't too tough. The ones with the sword, I think, are fairly easy to parry once you get used to it. But I am using the shield. So the shield requires slightly different timing, maybe, or has better timing, or it throws off my timing, maybe is the best way to say it. We're going to go down here just because we can, and why not? I think this is one of the coolest hidden areas. I just think it's so cool that you roll through the fireplace to get down here. You don't have to fight anything down here unless you bother the Mimic Chest. And the Mimic Chest doesn't have anything that you really need unless you desperately want the Occult Club, which I believe you can turn into a Divine Club pretty easily. So if you need a quick and easy weapon for heading down into the catacombs to kill those skeletons, there's skeletons there that if you don't kill their matching Skull Lantern dude, they just respawn endlessly. They keep coming back after you kill them. Unless you kill him with a divine weapon. Try attacking. Occult Club. Sounds like a place you go to dance. in New York City. The Occult Club. Maybe Bill and Hillary Clinton would like to go there, along with their demonic spirit cooking. Google that. Spirit cooking Clinton. Some freaky stuff, guys. All right. Up here is a gold coin, which I think gives you 5,000 souls if you feed it to Frompt. Here we go. Oh, that timing. Just about got us. Had he grabbed us... Oh, that's a silver coin, sorry. Is this the gold coin over here? Had he grabbed us, I'm pretty sure we would have died. Alright, so let's do this. Oh, I hate that stupid kick. Alright. Almost every single time I do the kick in this game, it's unintentional. Very annoying. So, about frame and masculinity and all that. You want to maintain frame for several reasons. Number one, it's because you continue to do what you want to do in life. You are getting what you want out of life, or at least trying to. And you're not sacrificing yourself for a woman. Because you think about it, you sacrifice yourself for a woman, the vast, vast majority of the time, we can know for certain that she would not do the same for you. Women have a distinct advantage in society in that we mistakenly think that women are victims and men are perpetrators. If there's a domestic violence incident, we automatically and falsely assume it must be the man. Despite what you've been led to believe, despite the stereotypes and the common beliefs out in society today, studies have shown, and these studies include meta-analyses of hundreds of studies, that men and women are roughly equally likely to commit acts of domestic violence and equally likely to initiate that domestic violence. What that means is that, no, you cannot have any certainty about who started it, who threw the first punch, kick, or who's the actual victim. A man is just as likely as a woman to be a victim of domestic violence. However, because of a lot of different reasons in society, men tend not to report. Men don't like to report because men are taught, hey, you handle your own shit. That's what we teach men. We do not teach men to go to other men to try to get help for opening the pickle jar. But it's okay for a woman. There's no shame in going to a man and saying, you know, for a woman to go to a man and say, hey, I can't pick this up, it's heavy, can you help me? Oh, look, we got an invader. But there is shame for a man to say, this is heavy, can you help me pick it up? For him to pick it up for him. That's the difference. The difference here is men don't say, can you pick this up for me? Women have no problem going up to a man and being like, could you pick that up and put it over there? It's just very heavy. You look like a big, strong man. You know, this kind of concept. The idea behind it is women seek men's help. Men have to help themselves. On the whole, society doesn't give a shit about men. This is true. Men don't care about men. Women don't care about men. Judges, juries, prosecutors, in general, nobody cares about men, but everyone's eager to help the innocent, poor victim women. Those innocent women need our help, right? In general, though, like I said, men are perpetrators and women are victims. Oh, darn it. Timing was off. So the problem with the invaders is you still get the twinks. And I mean, I understand that, but these are not fun fights. I don't see as how they'd be fun for either party. If I'm going into people's worlds and just massacring them because I'm all twinked out, I'm going to get bored of that. So, I don't know. I think maybe you have to have a slightly sadistic nature to want to twink up and fight people. And when you know it's just vastly, vastly, vastly in your favor. It doesn't do much to bother me. I mean, whoops, shoot. Timing was way off there. Way off. Let's try that again. Alright, I've redeemed myself. Back to the discussion at hand. Oh, you know what? I haven't opened that yet. I'm so used to that just being where I go every time. and skipping most of this. So police tend to just assume that the man can take care of himself, can handle himself, and that the woman is going to be the victim if either calls. So if you call the police as a man and try to tell them that the woman is beating on you, sometimes they'll even kind of make fun of you a little bit. It's the idea of, well, you can't handle this woman? She's like half your size. You can't handle that little girl? You know, it's the notion that you need to handle yourself. Women, on the other hand, are free to get as much help as they want because they're victims. Victims need our help. Women assume they're victims. Men assume they're victims. And who else? Judges, prosecutors, lawyers. It's just unfortunate that we have a system so structured and designed to support and help women. And what? Okay, so this is apparently the spot where I'm going to die multiple times. Hopefully not a third time, though. Kill me once, shame on them. Kill me twice, double shame on them. Kill me 3 times. Okay, now maybe it's my fault. Let's try this again. Although the first time was an invader. So with the system set up the way it is, women initiating the vast majority of divorces, they get the vast majority of child support, they get the vast majority of custody, they are the vast majority of victims listed in DV reports, the vast majority of suspects in domestic reports are men, the vast majority of people jailed for domestic violations are men, whether they did it or not, it's a different story, obviously. It's sad to see that men still don't know how to navigate this platform. What you don't want is a woman to file 2, 3, 4, 5 reports on you claiming you're violent, whether true or not, and then for you to file 0 reports on her because you're like, well, you know, I can handle myself, and I don't. So, you know, she might slap him, kick him, and all he wants to do is just get away. Well, if he even attempts to possibly get anywhere near to even suggesting that he might touch her, she'll call the police and scream that, you know, he did this and he did that, and then boom, you know, he's on the spot now. And the assumption, the way the DV laws are, it requires very, very little. There's no real need for evidence for the arrest. Now, for the prosecution, yes, you'll need evidence, but by the time you're arrested, you're arrested. You got an arrest record, you've sat in jail, you got bond conditions, you can't go back to your house, so you can't drink alcohol, you can't have a firearm, you can't do this, you can't do that. Depending on the state, there are some different guidelines for that. It becomes this just absurd situation where you start losing all these rights and you get hung up on all this stuff, and now you're trying to come up with an alternate living situation because you can't even go back to your own home where your wife or girlfriend or wherever lives, and then you can't afford, you know, anything, much less a lawyer to try to help you navigate it. And a lot of men make the mistake of thinking, I can't afford a lawyer, so I'm not going to pay for one, and that screws them over even worse. The best way to look at lawyer fees when it comes to domestic situations is you can't afford not to get a lawyer. Thousands of dollars on a lawyer is much better than tens of thousands over the years of the fallout from an incident, you know? All right. That's the way I just came in. Let's go over here and see what we can get from here. 15,000 souls will be a level... Oh, that was not an intentional jump. Okay. Oh, by the way, the jumping mechanics and controls in these games, all the Souls games, are utter and complete shit and always have been. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying. Jump mechanics in these games, complete shit, always have been. Changing the jump button to the L3, oh no. Even worse. You know how many times you accidentally click down on the analog stick while pushing it? That's a fucking death wish. I don't know why they even gave that as an option. That's worse. Okay, the one catch with this shield though is there is no 100% block, so you gotta be careful not to try to block too much with it. Just start taking a lot of damage. Yes, love that R2. The two-handed R2 has quite a wind-up. The one-handed R2 has a bit of a wind-up, but not as bad. Okay, there we go. We'll do one at a time. How about that? Oh, yes. One shot. Feels good, man. Feels good. All right, let's get this guy now. Oh, yes. Love the parries in this game. This is the... Well, Demon Souls, the parries were fine. They're better here, in my opinion. But Dark Souls is the perfection of parries. Dark Souls 2, the parries in that game, complete and utter shit. Complete and utter shit. They're so terrible, I just completely gave up on parries. They're just awful, awful in that game. And the parries in Dark Souls 3 are okay, but they're definitely worse than Dark Souls. Worse than Dark Souls, Demon Souls as well, but better than Dark Souls 2, obviously, because it's hard to be worse than Dark Souls 2. I mean, Dark Souls 2 is the pinnacle of shit parries. Most of the controls in Dark Souls 2 are, by far, significantly worse than any other game in the series, including Bloodborne and Demon Souls. Of all the Soulsborne games, Dark Souls 2 is the black sheep of the family. It just has so much shit in it, so much garbage, so many bad design elements, terrible controls, terrible parries. The whole way they structured difficulty in the game was just cheap and lazy. It's just, unfortunately, I don't feel like anything about that game was really done properly for the most part. There's a few decent things, but overall, Dark Souls 2 should not have happened. Should not have happened. Dark Souls 3, it's good. It's good. I don't like it as much as the original Dark Souls, but that's okay. I mean, it's not always about topping the original. As long as it's a good, fun game to play, and it is, then that's all you need, right? Oh, shoot. Shoot, 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 shoot. Got him. These guys, for some reason, love to not make a sound when you parry them. Like, the parry sound just doesn't happen. It's really weird. It's one of the only areas in the game where you run into that. Just completely silent parries. See? So, not sure what that is. It's obviously some sort of glitch or bug. They made no effort to fix it, apparently. So, I don't know. What are you going to do about it, right? Let's now go back to the bonfire to get our full 10 Estus flasks, level up, and see if we can summon anyone by going human. Sounds like a great idea. I know you all agree. So, the reason you maintain frame, based on everything I've said, is that women, when the relationship starts to go sour, whether they end it or you end it, if it's a marriage, almost 80% of the time the woman will end it. If it's a relationship, I don't have the statistics on that. I imagine both men and women end them. I don't know who ends it more. But what you'll find is she will go from loving you, you're a great guy, you're perfect, you're wonderful, you're amazing, you're a great father, or at least you're a good enough father to spend time with the kids, to suddenly you're the worst, most horrible, evil, violent, abusive, controlling, manipulative person in the world. You shouldn't be around the kids. You shouldn't have any money. You shouldn't even be alive. She wants you dead. She wants you in prison and jail. She wants all your friends and family to turn on you and abandon you. And so everything just kind of goes the other direction. Obviously, some personal experience here. I know you guys are picking up on that. Some jadedness. But this is something I've seen in several of my friends over the years. Never thought it happened to me, but then again, it's like cancer. You never think it'll happen to you until it does. I've seen this with so many friends, and my job exposes me to a lot of this. I've seen so many of these women lie, cheat, steal, play games, come up with stories, use the police as a weapon, use false protection orders as a weapon to try to isolate the man, isolate him from his kids, get him fired from his job. All I gotta say is, if a man did half of the shit that women do during the divorce, he's labeled as abusive, controlling, manipulative. He gets arrested. All his friends call him out on it. When women do it, well, they're emotional and it's okay, and they don't get arrested and nothing happens to them, and they're not labeled. So just keep in mind that if you're a man, it's assumed that you're the bad guy. So all of your actions are interpreted as you being a horrible, abusive, mean, terrible person. And for her, all of her actions are interpreted as, well, she's emotional, she's hurt, stuff like that. She wouldn't give a shit about you, so why are you giving so much of a shit about her is the real question. A lot of guys, I see this on domestic scenes that I make, they'll be like, well, I don't really want her to go to jail. I'm like, really? Because she's over there saying everything she can to get you sent to jail. So why are you so intent on protecting her? She is hell-bent on getting you sent to jail. She wants you sitting in jail. She wants you to lose your freedom, and you're concerned about her. She isn't concerned about you one bit. So that's why you maintain your frame for yourself. You don't sacrifice yourself for a woman who would throw you to the wolves in a heartbeat. Oh, I got it. That swing is a little bit of a tougher parry, I would have to say. Yeah, it's a much harder parry than any of their other attacks. It's not super difficult once you get used to it, but it's been a while since I played, so I'm not used to it right now. I'm relearning as I go. Was hoping to get a summon in here, but oh well, hopefully Solaire will be available, even though he wasn't sitting at the bonfire. First thing I like to do is run around to the other side and take care of the bow knight. Really don't want him shooting us from the other side while we're trying to fight other enemies. I have not picked up a bow yet. I really need one. Goes very well with the whole ninja aesthetic. Ninjas have bows? Sure they do. Why not? Why wouldn't they? They need some sort of ranged attack other than a shuriken. Ooh. And oh, look, did you see that twirl? Did you see that backstab dodge and twirl? These guys are fairly easy to backstab if you know their moves. Their movesets, rather. Although, they can be tricky at times because one of the secrets of Dark Souls, if you haven't discovered this, in order to backstab an enemy, you have to do this R1 attack where their back would be after the completion of their current animation. It's not where their back currently is, it's where it would be after the current animation completes. Anyone with a lot of experience with Dark Souls knows what I'm saying. If you try to hit their back while they're in the middle, like that spin attack, where they're spinning sideways, and you try to hit their back where it currently is, that's likely not going to be where the back technically is registered in the game, so you wouldn't get that backstab. It wouldn't see it as a proper backstab. I don't think he's got a bow. No, he doesn't have a bow for sale. That sucks. Okay. But he does sell some interesting stuff here. By the way, if you needed more Titanite or large Titanite, they are available here. He sells the Titanite for the same value as Andre of Astora. The guy at Sin's Fortress sells it for 200 more each. Large Titanite here is 200 cheaper than the other guy, so there you go. He also sells Twinkling, very expensive, and green Titanite shards. You know, I told you that we would go get the katana. So let's... You know what? I bought one of those. I didn't actually need that. That sucks. How many do I have of these? We want enough Titanite shards to where we can upgrade the katana to Divine Katana. And then we're going to use that in the catacombs and also on the boss fight down there. Nope. We're not going to use that yet. Hang on. Let's do this. That should be what, 3,000? 5,000. Very nice. Let's do 3 more of these. So that'll get me to +5. Can I get a divine weapon from +5? Let me see here. If I revert the... Yes. No. Divine club +5. We will undo that just so that we have a divine weapon in case we never work on anything else. I'm trying to think of how to get to divine. Do you go to +5 and then get to divine, or do you go to +10? I can't think of which one it is. There we go. Hopefully it's just +5. I'd hate to have to take it all the way to +10. For some reason, though, I feel like it is +5. By the way, these guys have shit tons of invincibility frames during their dodges, so your weapon will just swing through them aimlessly. Kind of sucks. Like, you expect that on you. You know about your own invincibility frames, and you love them. But when enemies have invincibility frames, it's really annoying. And that jump back, that is such a Dark Souls 2 style jump back. So Dark Souls 2 has so many enemies that do the jump back attacks or the aggressive running. What's it? There's a really good name for it. The run attack where they just run at you and try to hit you straight up. Rush down. A German spy referred to it as the rush down attack. So many of the enemies have that. Okay, so we got what we want from here for now. We're going, you know what? How many actual large Titanites do we have? 6? Just in case we end up wanting more, let's buy one. And that way, if we die, I don't lose the 5,000 souls, just 1381 now. That's 5381 before or whatever. It's too bad the chameleon spell, in which it hides you and makes you look like an item from the game. The item that it makes you look like doesn't quite match. I think here you become an urn, but it doesn't exactly look like this urn. If you put them side by side, they look very different. The lighting or the texture or something is off, and so it just throws it off completely, and it doesn't look right, which sucks, you know. But whatever. What are you gonna do about it? Did he heal the other one? I don't know if that has a... Oh, yeah, I was out of stamina. Hang on. What the heck? Oh. Come on. Come on. Oh, gosh darn it. Oh, I couldn't dodge that. That hit me as soon as I came out of that, as soon as I came up from off the ground. One of the problems with this game is it is possible to hit a player, or it is possible for you to get hit the absolute split second you come out of your invincibility from being knocked down. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You just get sucker punched and killed, basically. So, not exactly in line with the whole theme of how Dark Souls is supposed to be played, is it? I'm having a lot of shitty luck with this game. I feel like it is luck when it's that kind of death, because I didn't have any control over what happened to me the split second I came out of that. It's luck of the draw whether that attack happens to be timed so perfectly as to kill you. I like to keep everything repaired up, because why not? Alright, maybe we'll get a summon here, though. Maybe it'll work out to our advantage. Well, there's one person there. Let's see if we can get him. If it's anything like the original Dark Souls, it'll just be like shitty failure after shitty failure after shitty failure. The original Dark Souls. Summoning Phantom. Summoning failed. Summoning Phantom. Summoning failed. Summoning Phantom. Summoning failed. Repeat ad nauseum. This one is much better, though. This game... The connection quality, the summonings are so much better. Like 10, 20, 30, 40 times better, almost literally. Exaggeration is very little here. So much better. I thought he was going to backstab him. Come on. That's one of the things I hate about this. It just fucking flips the shit out, and all the enemies start fucking acting weird and messing up their animations and shit when you have someone in your world, and it just throws you off and makes you look like you don't know how to play. Wish they'd fix this shit, you know what I mean? Like, come on. So many bugs and glitches just left completely unchanged. Small modifications to the graphics. At least they brought it to 60 frames per second. Okay, that's... So now it's at the bare minimum acceptable frame rate for an action game. And yes, I said that. Bare minimum. 30 is not an acceptable frame rate for an action game. It just is not. It looks like shit, plays like shit, and you don't have the control that you need. This coming from a PC player. If you've always played on consoles, then you're used to shit, so you probably don't even realize it. It's kind of like when you go into a shitty truck stop bathroom and it smells really terrible. Well, the longer you stay in there, the less you realize how bad it smells. You get used to the smell, and suddenly you don't even smell it anymore. That doesn't mean it doesn't smell like shit. It just means you're used to it. Same thing with the 30 FPS issue. If you played 30 FPS games all your life, they're still shitty. You just don't know it because you're used to it. I hope that example is apt enough to put everything in perspective. You could even say it's a shitty example. Oh, the puns are just, you know, beautiful, beautiful, absolutely wonderful. Okay. Solaire? Oh, there he is. Can I bleed these guys? Because you can bleed people through their shield. That's the cool thing about the katana. You can bleed them through the shield. But this guy did not bleed, so either he's got a real high resistance or he doesn't bleed. Oh, wait, let me open this door. I don't see as how I'm going to do anything with it at the moment, but I don't know. It's good to open all the shortcuts and doors and levers and switches and gates and bridges and platforms and ladders. All right. Hang on now. Is Solaire hanging out with my summon and not with me? Where's Solaire? Oh, okay. There he is. He's just off doing his own thing. Here we go, guys. Almost perfect timing. We're at 40-some minutes of this playthrough and at the boss, so hopefully I don't die. Ornstein and Smough. They're in their own frame, guys. They're living life with their frame. There we go. Oh, you know what? Do I have the thingies for fire? No. Darn it. Charcoal pine resin. I meant to buy some charcoal pine resin. It's great to use on these guys. It's a bad idea to stand in front of them because he'll do that charge attack, and you really can't 100% get away from it. There we go. Okay, now it's going to be Super Ornstein. He can be a bit tough, though, because Super Ornstein, yeah, he's pretty quick and agile. Super Smough, though, I think has one move where if you're right up on top of him and he does it right away and you don't immediately react, you're doomed. It's going to get you. Because just the area of effect on it is so crazy. That move right there, I do not like to be near him. I haven't perfected the dodge timing on it, so it always gets me. Well, it usually gets me. So I prefer not to be around him when it happens. Now, it is possible to bug this guy out, or at least one of them, and just throw fire bombs from behind a column. It's cheap and lazy, so if you do it, it will not feel satisfying at all. But, you know, whatever. Oh, that bleed effect. I like it. I still got Solaire, so that's good. Although I don't know how much health he has. Let me see. Oh, he's good on health. Oh, I was just outside his range there. Okay. The only problem with the katana is like the same as the S-Stock. Is that he can... you can miss him because you're standing between his legs and the attack goes between his legs. Yep, I knew I was going to get hit there. Now the question is he going to stay on top of me and hit me again? No, that was close. I would have died had he hit me right there again. That would have been death. Okay, he's dead. He's dead. Watch Solaire kill him. Get him, Solaire. Oh, come on, Solaire. Don't just sit there blocking. Don't be lazy. Go get him. It's the whole point of me summoning you. Solaire. What are you doing, bro? Get in there. Forget it. I'll just do it. I'm gonna wait so long I'll end up getting killed. Alright, the Leo ring. Not really terribly useful for this weapon. The only one... That's the only move on it that I think uses the Leo ring. So, yeah, whatever. 50,000 souls, brothers and sisters. With that, we're right at that perfect timing of about 45 minutes. I like it. I'm gonna actually do everything else when I see you in the next episode. So thank you for joining me. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames. This has been Dark Souls Remastered. Sorry we missed the Sins Fortress episode. It just didn't get recorded. Follow me on social media. Twitter's the big place for me, where I tend to spend most of my social media time. Links are in the description. And we're going to end with a different saying. Instead of just saying bye, see you later, and all that. Instead, I'll say, as always, guys, maintain your frame.